interested to hear, and especially your background is quite impressive. I have been working long years in the finance at the UBS, and I left, so I now founded my.
Anders fokussieren. Es gibt wirklich so viel Fleißarbeit, sage ich jetzt mal. Da kann man wirklich
How it works with communications and everything. Yeah.
But I started in cybersecurity. Now I moved from cybersecurity to
See? That's not working. It's not working. We'll try again. Good start. 1, 2. Hello. Is that working now? No. We are now on the live stream.
Hello? Hello?
Just have it on our. I'm just being an idiot. Hello? Hello? Okay, hello everybody and welcome to this evening's event. If you could just take your seats, we are going to make a start. Thank you.
Hey everyone. So for anyone that's joining at the back, just take a seat. We're going to start now. So welcome to our SuperWomen in Tech event, brought to you by SGI. I'm Gemma. Lovely to meet you all. I'm a senior recruiter here in Switzerland, and I'm absolutely thrilled to welcome you here today to celebrate the brilliant women who are shaping technology and the future. So for those of you who don't know SGI already, we are a global staff and solutions company. We partner with tech-driven businesses and supply them with amazing talent across Switzerland and also worldwide as well. Our mission is to go beyond just being a staffing provider. So we're here to help people and companies really realise their full potential. So this means supporting inclusive, diverse, and forward-thinking communities like we have here today. So SuperWomen in Tech is all about creating a safe space for real stories, honest conversations, and shared ambition. I hope you've all managed to help yourself to a drink and refreshments. If you haven't already, we'll have a chance at the end whilst we're networking as well. For our question and answers, we'll be using Slido. So just submit any questions by using the QR code here. After this discussion and the panel's happened, we'll go through any questions. So to kick things off, I'm really thrilled to introduce our amazing panel who are sat here. These are an inspiring group of leaders who will be sharing their stories and views on what it really means to thrive as a woman in tech today. So yeah, thank you all for coming and enjoy.
Thank you very much, Emma, for that nice introduction, and it's a pleasure to welcome you all here tonight for a very inspiring conversation with three amazing ladies. I'm very much looking forward to it. And before we start, I would like to give you a little bit of a content of what we are talking today, because we have the topic of tech and AI, but it's going to be fairly broad. So just to give you a little bit of an overview of what we want to tackle today. And of course, also get you a little bit involved into today's conversation and to maybe kick it all off, to get a little bit of an understanding how you stand to AI and technology. So one of my first questions I'm going to ask to you now is, and please raise your hands, who is still skeptical about AI and future technologies? None. Really? Okay, who is fascinated about it? Oh, you don't?
Yeah, maybe the microphone is off. I think maybe the microphone's
The
off.
microphone, okay. Can you hear
I
me?
think the mic's not. Okay, now.
Can you hear me now? No? Is it good? No? Thanks for mentioning.
Test.
You is working well.
Yeah, mine
Now?
is working.
Now? Now it's better? I need to stand behind you. Is it better? No. I have a mic here. Do you hear me now? No?
No, so something's not quite right.
You need to put it into an angle.
I don't think this is.
Hello? Hello, hello?
No, maybe it's not on.
No, it's on.
Hello, hello? Hello? Can you hear me now? Okay, I do it that way. I hope it works. Now with this one, no? Okay. Okay. So probably my avatar could do that much better. No. So I'm gonna start again. Sorry for you in the front who need to hear me now twice. So I welcome you all today at this great event supported by or initiated by SGI, and I'm very happy to be here with these three amazing ladies. We have Iris, Theodora, and Catherine. And we're going to dig deeper into conversations very soon, but I wanted to just give you a little bit of insights what we are talking today, what's the topics we're going to tackle, but also to get you a little bit involved and hear your involvement and understanding of AI and technology. So before we start, I would like to ask a question to the audience and see who of you is actually still skeptical about AI and future technologies. Please. Worried about. Okay. Anyone else? That goes very deep, so we're gonna see how far we can tackle that today. I hope we are gonna be safe for today at least, but yeah, it's an important point for sure. Ethic is a big topic for today as well. Who of you is fascinating about AI and curious where it will lead our future? Also, kind of like both. We're gonna try to balance this out. We will talk about risks, we will talk about opportunities, but most importantly, we will talk about what women should have and what role we should take in this development. And I personally am a true believer we should take a seat at the table and try to enforce and influence as much as we can, because it's gonna be not just our future, it's gonna be the future of our next generations as well. So that's my personal belief, but I'm curious to hear what the panelists is gonna say about that too. Maybe to start, before we introduce the panelists, a few words about myself. My name is Desiree. I am not directly involved in tech, or at least I'm not a techie, let's say that way. I am an entrepreneur myself, I'm an investor myself, and I'm a board member, a multiple board member. One of my biggest mandates is a stock exchange listed life science investment company, which is also to do with AI. We have one AI company. But of course, I invest mainly in tech companies, and I'm a big advocate for female-founded companies and startups. So that said about me. We had a topic today also about finance and tech, so I'm a big believer in that both elements, finance and tech, are important tools, especially for women, which many of us, maybe not both here, but many of us don't really find them sexy or cool or fascinating, but more boring, and I don't know what I should do with it. And I really hope we can change that and influence and infect at least you with some fascination, and you take it across today into your world, into your network, into your families and friends, and hopefully inject them as well a little bit with some AI fever, or at least positivity about the future and technology. Thank you so much for being here. And with that, I would like to give the microphones to our panelists for a short introduction. And I will start with Catherine. I don't know if you can speak.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. Hi, I'm Dr. Catherine Kine. About me, I define myself as a data math scientist. I'm your super nerd. Started programming at age 10 when my father bought me a computer, and that's what I wanted. I didn't want Barbies, I didn't want dolls, I didn't want any kind of shoes. I'm kind of a tomboy. First with BASIC, I started making my own video games, and I went against my father to become an engineer. My father told me at age 18 I should just go study business and find a husband at school. And I said, no, I'm going to be an engineer, and I'm going to create robots. And I watched KIT, you know, this autonomous driving car, the talk. And I said to my father, that is my dream, and that's exactly what I did. I created the first autonomous driving car at Mercedes-Benz as the first female engineer. So. And that took me later on to Audi, where I defined the quality management for the AI before agentic AI became an issue or ChatGPT started disrupting everybody's lives, yeah? Or maybe increasing them. We were already creating agents, which is what an autonomous driving car is. Yeah? The reason why it's not as popular, that's a different story. But I went exactly then to bring the standards, yeah? Being a co-author of the ISO 262, yeah? For functional safety, bringing also ethical AI, explainable AI, all the foundations for responsible AI, and then into the role that took me to be the main research scientist for the AI Volkswagen Group worldwide. Yeah, so first AI scientist worldwide for the Volkswagen Group. So I left now. I'm the chief data scientist at Cognizant. We are a company, one of the big 5 in IT services and technical consultancy, 356,000 software engineers, and I'm the only female AI leader. And the reason why is because I'm always looking for female talent, and I don't find it. So that's one of my, I want to leave you here with inspiration to come to an AI career, because we need you, and actually the new skills, and that's why I think we're gonna hop, that it goes in through your minds, yeah? The future of AI is female. And I'm gonna tell you the reason why. So, and I'm trusted by the governments of Croatia, Saudi Arabia, yeah? So I deal with men, imagine, in the Sharia law, creating AI for Sharia law, for financial technology. And I'm a member of the World Economics Forum, a Global Future Council of Data. Yeah, it was one of the 18 members in the entire world picked up by the World Economic Forum to define the new policy of data and AI. And yes, it was not an easy task. Yeah, for none of us that sit here had an easy way of getting here. But there is a lot to be done. And that's why I want to encourage you to come into an AI career.
Theodora,
Excellent.
the floor is yours.
So I'm Theodora. Firstly, can you hear me? No? Okay. I'm Theodora Cosley-White, previously Director of Technology International for RBI. They're a brand that own Burger King, Popeyes, etc. But prior to that, my career spans developing products for Microsoft. I developed products back in the day when Windows Mobile, which was the competitor for BlackBerry, was in the market at the time. And more recently, I developed Microsoft's first marketing product called Dynamics 365 for marketing. More recently, I have become a full-time solo founder of an AI-driven platform that advocates for women with their health. We'll talk a little bit more about that. And I've been running a foundation called Women in Tech Coterie since 2019, started in the UK, born out of my own experience in... Can you hear me now? Okay. Okay. Now can you hear me here? There we go. Okay. That's better. So what did you hear? Did you hear the Women in Tech Coterie? Any better now? Perfect. Okay. So I'll go back a little bit. So I'll go back to the part where I said I founded a a platform that advocates for women's health. As you know, research. Let's do that.
Yeah, because I think so.
Oh dear, let's try third time lucky. Okay. Okay, so I'm now a full-time founder of a women's health platform that advocates for women's health, driven by AI. I can't speak too much about it because we're still in stealth mode. But in 2019, I started a foundation called the Women in Tech Coterie, born out of my own professional experience as a woman in tech. I have predominantly been the only female at leadership level, and it just got very frustrating, fatiguing, because you face all sorts of challenges, whether it's the lack of opportunity, whether it's the lack of diversity, whether it's having to advocate for yourself in a room filled with men who are not interested in your perspective. It's a challenge. So I founded the Women in Tech Coterie, started in the UK. What was meant to be just Bristol-based, it spread across the UK, and then more recently I've started it here in Switzerland. What the Coterie does is help women at whatever stage or level you are in your life to enter into a career in technology. You do not have to have come from a technology background. I think there's this misconception that you have to have gone and done a degree or done a coding boot camp. That is not true. We live in an age where all this information is available to you readily for free on the internet, and it's all down to your own motivation and your tenacity and interest to learning. So the Women in Tech Coterie helps women do that. We focus specifically for the more senior women on a program called Accelerate, where it's women who are at head of and over, helping them either prepare themselves for boardroom roles or for very senior roles like CTO, CFO, etc. But we still also support ladies who are up and coming in the career. And now I'll hand over to my colleague, Iris.
Thank you. I think my mic works, right? Good. I'm a digital transformation consultant at Triarc Labs, and I'm very happy to see so many women in our jungle office today. Triarc Labs, we design and develop custom software for our Swiss-based clients. And of course, we experimented AI within the last few years, and we have already started implementing some use cases for our customers into their software. So we are also very keen about AI and continue learning about it and gaining experience. I think that's the most important. We are 18 people and 3 female, just to mention at the side.
Great. I think I need to go back to the hand mic. Does it work? Yes, my hand mic. Perfect. Thank you so much for the introduction of all of you, very inspiring careers. And with that, I would like to jump right away into the first conversation. We're going to start with a little bit of like an overview and talking about the AI landscape. And my first question goes to you, Catherine. If you look out there, you mentioned you have 3 women of 18 employees. You mentioned you built an offer, a training program or a program in general to help women get more used to AI and technology. Catherine, how do you see if there are no talents out there? Do women really use AI differently, or do they not use it at all? What's your inspiration? Like, how do you see the world out there?
I'd like to start with defining and demystifying what AI is. Yeah? It's different mathematical methods using digitalized information in an IT infrastructure, we'll know, computers, mobile phones, yeah? With the ability to imitate the human cognitive abilities. That's it. Okay, first, that it is understood, and it's usually made more complicated than it is. One of the main things, and Theodore already mentioned that, there is still a lot of bias about women and wanting to use AI. And I'll ask first all of you a question. Raise your hand, everyone in this room that thinks you need to know how to code or know software engineering principles or computer science to be an AI expert. Please raise your hand. In 2025, you don't. When I started, With my first job in 1996, it was a must. Yeah? I had to know about IT computer networks, I had to learn C, C hash, yeah, even assembler. And now, the most important thing, all you have to do is use your women natural abilities. What do I mean by that? And yes, women use AI different than men, and I'm so happy about it. Why? If I test all the time my husband, yeah? He's my guinea pig. I gave him first ChatGPT, yeah? And what was his first thing he did? He asked him about how to use it for improving his bets in his football game. It's not a real game, it's a video game, yeah? He's called Football Manager. That's what he did. I give the same tool to my daughter. And you know what she did? She used her innate female ability to ask. It said, teach me how to use you. I want to know, how can I become, let's say, the best makeup influencer? Or am I asking you wrong? How should I ask you? And I show her the voice form of ChatGPT, not the right form of ChatGPT. And that was one thing that is now different. Imagine, in the 90s, that PowerPoint was teaching you how to use PowerPoint, or Excel was teaching me how to use Excel better. Unthinkable. Yeah? So one of the main things that we have as women is our excellent communication abilities. So translate it into the structure, translate it into being able to do multi-type of tasks, being multimodal. I'm a mom, I'm a wife, I'm cooking, I'm a project manager, I'm a boss. Yeah? Being multimodal, and that's what agentic AI is multimodal. Creating a flow, you create a flow every time, what am I gonna do during the day? I'm gonna pick up my daughter from school, no I can't, I have to call my husband, I have to have this meeting. You are creating already agentic workflows every single day on your mind. Yeah? What's another thing that we women are very good at, apart from communication? Collaboration and nurture. The basis, yeah, in order to get the fear of AI that everybody has, yeah? Because yes, what the men built, thousands of trillions of data points. So AI is very male, it's very biased. So what we need is the women to digitalize this information, yeah, to stop that bias coming there. So, because all software programs, except for 2, were created by men. Yeah? It's very male-dominated data world. And if you ask OpenAI, why is ChatGPT bringing a lot of output that's rubbish? Yeah? Why is it hallucinating so much? OpenAI doesn't know, because they haven't asked us. And I'm going to tell you why. Because it was created with male-dominated biased data. Did they ask children? No. Did they ask women? No. Did they ask different backgrounds, different cultures? No. And what's happening, through the exposure with people, yeah, then it's not ready yet to come up with these M plus M possibilities, yeah, that is bringing up the diversity of its users. It's because it doesn't have it built, even though it was trained with the entire internet, even though they claim something else. Yeah, even though the web scrap YouTube or whatever, which is very male-dominated. So what is one of the future that I want women to do? I want you to digitalize that unbiased, to digitalize all this female area. Yeah, the area about being a mother, the area about being a carer, which is another of the main types of, let's say, instinctive abilities that we have, yeah, to nurture, to be there for someone else, because that's where AI is not there yet. Yeah? If you see Gemini with rational thinking, the so-called research model, or let's say thinking model, that it appears to think like a human, yeah? It's nothing else but what is called inference mathematics, yeah? Finance, which is what you've been doing, yeah? So playing casino with the stock market, yeah? It's exactly what it's doing. But it's not doing the rational thinking, empathical and emotionally, as we do. And that's one thing that we women are really good at. Recognizing, are you feeling okay? Emotions. Are you happy? Yeah? Knowing when something is off. Yeah? We're 1,000 times faster than men. Yeah? So that is one of the things that AI still doesn't know, that women can teach AI how to become empathical. Yeah? So that is one of the careers of the future. So that's why I want women to really use AI differently, because you can think about all those data points and all those new use cases that the male-dominated world, the past 70 years in IT, haven't.
Thank you so much, Catherine, for these inspiring insights. And I want to go over to you, Theodore, and ask, we just had the conversation, or you mentioned that women can influence actually the output of AI. Is this something you train in your programs as well? Is it more on the job side, or is it also about the private life? Because I think it goes a bit in both directions, but how do you see that, and what is there exactly, the questions or the
can you hear me okay?
Challenges?
Okay, perfect. So I think for a lot of women who maybe have not dabbled with AI, they're not aware of its potential and the power that it serves for them. I will use one example where it has served me very well personally as well as professionally. I mentioned earlier on that I'm a founder of a startup called FemHealth 360, which is a platform that advocates for women. As you know, the medical research for women has been dire. Very little has been done over the last few years, generations, and so there isn't a lot of knowledge. If you're a woman who suffers from endometriosis or adenomyosis, hormonal imbalances, and a whole lot of things that are specifically, for the physiology of women, you will find that you will struggle to get any form of support. From a personal perspective, I leveraged AI to do that. I leveraged AI to find a diagnosis that I had struggled with for 17 years after being gaslit and sent down all sorts of crazy routes with doctors and being ignored for 17 whole years, until finally, with the birth of ChatGPT, I used AI to find my own diagnosis. I'm now diagnosed with a very rare artery condition and one of 3,000 globally. Maybe there's a bit more, but it's called fibromuscular dysplasia. It's non-inflammatory, so that was one of the challenges. It didn't have the typical markers that you would expect. So it was very difficult for doctors to diagnose. And the only reason why we were able to finally get to that diagnosis was through the use of AI, as well as going for a scan, something that they really should have done all those 17 years ago, but they didn't. Okay. So that's just one example of how AI can make a difference in women's lives on a personal level. On a professional level, I think women, if we look back in time historically, particularly if you see the new report that has come out by the World Economic Forum, the Future of Jobs 2025 report, you will find that there have been a lot of jobs that have historically been done by women, often leaning on the administrative side, process-driven side, etc. And with the advancement of AI, women are going to be left behind. They're going to find themselves either being worked out of a career because they're not leveraging AI and learning how to, leverage the advancements with AI, or having to upskill in areas that they didn't anticipate they would have to upskill. I'll give you an example. With the recent advancements with autonomous AI, agentic AI, there are lots of jobs now that women have historically done that will become null and void. The everyday administrative tasks that you take for granted within the office space are now being automated, and that's just one area. And if women do not take a leap and start educating themselves and putting themselves at the forefront here, they're going to be left behind. But I also want to spin it the other way around. This is not just about being left behind in the dust. This is also about you being able to leverage AI to do positive things for yourselves and your lives. We're now in an age where, with the advancements of AI, entrepreneurs, housewives, etc., can leverage AI to go on and do things for themselves, for business, etc. You can now go on and build a business completely on your own by using agentic AI because of the number of agents that you can develop for your business. So these are just examples of the power of AI. So I think from a training and development perspective, I think being open-minded, dabbling with it, irrespective of what your background is, whatever your role, professional is, career professional role is, and applying it to your personal life. Finding use cases where you can adapt AI to improve your life is the starting point. Once you've understood that, you will then be able to see use cases everywhere else in the world where it can be applied, be it business, be it finance, etc. So.
Thank you so much. And now, Iris, to you, how do you see that in daily life? You mentioned you're 3 women. You mentioned also that you use AI already since quite some time, and you're also having it be a bit training on it to see how it develops. Do you see a difference on how women and men use it? And what do you see when it comes to your female employees? Is there a difference? How could we train them more? How could we inspire them more? What's your, and how do you see that?
I mean, development is very fast at the moment, so AI training, it's not really a training, I think it's more a continuous learning. If I see a difference, I wouldn't say I see a difference, but as a woman in tech, I'm very close to the development, even though I don't put myself, or I don't get the knowledge myself. We have experts in our team who sort of feed us with the latest development, and so I'm naturally just at the base of what's happening. But this is for us women in tech. I'm more worried about women who are not in tech. They are much further away of what's happening. And I think there it's the responsibility of organizations to give them accessible and easy understandable information about what AI can and how it's developing. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Catherine, to link on that one, is there an industry or, especially an industry or a role where you would say women have an amazing opportunity to take over and have a lead when it comes to AI?
I like to take and build on what Theodora just said. Right now, you can all go on your mobile phone. You don't even need a computer, and you can learn about AI. You can learn about something called prompt engineering, which is how to tell the computer what to do. You can go on, and I want you all to go back home and use Gemini, not OpenAI, because Gemini did learn that it needs to continue the never-ending learning on improving its model, and use the rational model 2.5, not promoting Google, but it's the one that I know that will help you in this exercise. And go and tell the AI, please tell me how to ask you, how to rephrase the question that I'm going to ask you. I am person A, so old, this is what I know, this is what I like, this is what I love. This is the areas that are important in my life and the areas that I dread, that I hate, that I don't like. Tell me, how can I use AI to bring about career planning, and as Theodora said, in the personal side too, to be a better mom, better sister, better yourself, whatever you'd like, and tell me all the options that I can do that are obvious, and bring me innovative things that are absolutely hidden to me. Bring me things that I should be doing that you think that I'm not doing right now. And create for me a plan for the next 2 weeks. Because everybody says 4 months. No, commit to it 2 weeks. For learning AI, particularly for those topics. I want all of you to go back. And then you're going to be shocked at what that AI. You can have it as a conversation. You can, of course, try it with ChatGPT if you love it, or with Grok, or use your favorite one. But you're going to be seeing that it's going to be telling you to things like, oh my God. And tell it, please, to take the persona of the expert that you want. Be it a psychologist, be it a mom, be a mentor, be it, I don't know, an alien from outer space. I've done that, because it really keeps me out from my blindsided world being human, or I simply tell it what else that I'm not seeing. And from there, it is not the industries, because I could tell you, yes, healthcare, of course. Healthcare is only 3% of all medicines were made for women. So of course, in healthcare, there's a lot of it to be done there. But the new industries, and that's a very important thing what Theodore said. If learning AI, for everybody, is like learning computer skills like it was in the 90s. Whoever didn't learn how to use a PCs in the 90s, completely fell off from the workforce. AI is the new PC skills. Everybody, absolutely everybody. Like everybody knows how to use a smartphone today. Everybody needs to use AI. The point of the exercise is that you customize it to your needs. Because the one thing that AI can still not do, because there's, artificial general intelligence has not been created yet. So the Skynets, Terminators of this world, still, they're not there. Yeah? It's not in 10 years, it's not in 20 years. Yeah? Sentient AI is impossible to happen. Why? Yeah? And maybe it's a little bit religious. Because it needs to have a soul, a human soul. An AI will never have a human soul. It will have a copy of the imitation of a human soul. So everything that's truly emotional, empathical, yeah, in the human being, yeah, is still going to be needed. Like I said, the typical abilities that you all women have. So please create new industries. Because what's going to happen, just as Theo said, the typical, I'm in HR, I'm in finance, and I'm a project manager for a retail company. It's going to be over. Yeah? The replacement of all those jobs by 2035 is going to be through AI. 70% of those jobs are going to be gone. But what the new jobs that are coming? We need ethicists. I desperately need mathematicians to help me create the new coding language for the quantum computing I'm doing research with my team. Yeah? So I'm also a professor of AI applied to science and quantum computing. That computer language has not been invented yet. So the amount of mathematics, and that's where I see it, when I'm in my home country of Germany, in the PISA study, girls always were at the top of mathematics. Yeah? And we're at the top of understanding information and putting. When I was talking to my husband, I was happy to hear it, and I was making the answer. I picked my daughter and apologize because she felt like you were rude. I wasn't rude. We have to move fast. And he doesn't get it. And I get frustrated. So I have to go and explain him how she feels as an 11-year-old girl to my 45-year-old husband. Yeah? And that's one thing that, and I have to stop myself, that as women, we're taught to be empathical. Yeah? But men aren't. Men have to be the big boys, to be, not to cry. So, and that is one of the things that in the new world is going to be about how to manage those emotions, because men also have them. So we need the change managers, the AI product managers that are able to manage the change, the impact on the workforce. Yeah, it's what you are mentioning here is very interesting, very important. We need behavioral scientists on the impact of AI in the workforce, on the impact of AI in the health industry, of the impact of AI in the retail industry, in anything. We need the data validators. Because if it's rubbish in, it's rubbish out. Yeah? So there is not enough data there yet. And we say, well, there's trillion data points, internet here, internet there. No, there isn't. As I mentioned, to go back in the bias. So we need the data validator. So data engineering is still going to be here in the next 15 years. Yeah? Because auto-generated data, if it's based on biased data and rubbish data, is still going to be auto-generated rubbish. Yeah? So that is, like I said, there's not going to be industries. I think there's going to be the industry of ethical AI product manager, change manager, counselor. New roles are going to be happening. And it's also part of us to bring it about and tell the customers to do it. So that's why I tell to my customers, have you thought about resilience management? I don't know. What do you mean about that? And I said, well, they're all on POC AI chatbot here, POC AI chatbot there. But you guys know what happened in Spain. One day, no electricity. So that shows in the digitalization state in which Spain is, which is not as high as in China or Japan. And then everything froze. Why? Because there's no resilience managers. There's no one telling them how to live without technology or how to protect the technology once you put it back. Yeah? Also on cyber attacks, yeah? They are going to be happening a lot more. Why? Because any script kiddie can use GitHub Copilot to create a really cool virus and to look and ask the AI to tell him how to attack a particular AI database. Or even I don't have to go that far. Yeah, stealing data and use it for malicious purposes for, let's say, ransom. So all of that is new roles that are coming. Yes, of course, if you go into the traditional female roles, you're going to be left out. But I bet that you all can think of new roles, new industries, and new supports for the future.
Thank you so much, Theodora. We kind of like tackled now two topics. One is still the career, and one it goes into the ethic, which are both topics we wanted to cover tonight. I want to go a bit back to the career topic and hear from you again. If someone tells you, I mean, we had it, women in tech, they're closer to the developments, closer, let's say, to the developments. We get a little bit to see what happens and how things grow and develop. But what is with all the others out there? What do you and how do you react if someone comes and says, like, I don't want to use it, it's not for me, I'm worried about it? What's your reaction? How do you try to convince them, or how do you answer?
So, can you hear me? No. Can you hear me here? Okay, so I held a workshop a couple of weeks ago. It was an AI workshop, and I started with the basics. I invited women from all industries, all sectors, whatever you were, a mum at home, a marketing assistant, a project manager, you name it, to come to a workshop to use AI. And the reason I did this was I wanted them to have an introduction into AI, just to understand its potential and its power. Now, a lot of these women had either had some knowledge of AI, some exposure, maybe used it to get find a recipe, etc., but they didn't realize everything that what Catherine has just said about its power, where you tell it what you wanted, what information you wanted to give you about whatever the particular topic is. You instruct it and you guide it, etc. So that's exactly what I did. Now, for all of these ladies, they all had very different reasons for why they attended. Some were looking to progress their careers. Others were just looking for some sort of direction in their life because they were at that transition point. They've just had a baby. They were going back into the workforce. Others had just never used AI and they had no idea what it was. So I said, let's work by your specific use case. I would like you to prompt AI, but firstly, I want you to put everything you need to know, it needs to know about you. It needs to know absolutely everything, and I gave them examples. And I even went into the psychological and the emotional, etc., because I think people don't realize that AI does that. I think there's misconception that it's just robotic, etc. No, there's some of that as well. So I made them put in all of this information about themselves and then asked it whatever their problem was. One particular lady was looking to transition from her financial career into one of tech, didn't know what transferable skills she had, also wanted to do something slightly more creative rather than just logical, and boop, after all of the prompting, it popped something out and she was stunned. And the whole room, by the end of the session, were emailing me for several days after that saying, can you send me this prompt and can you send me that prompt? Because I don't think they anticipated just how powerful it could be. So that's where I start when it comes to helping women, with their exposure into AI. And it's not just AI, it's technology as a whole. I think, again, we forget that your mobile device, that is technology. The calendar that you use, the to-do list that you write, the reminders that you send, WhatsApp, you name it, that is technology. If you can use those tools, there is absolutely no reason why AI cannot become a part of your life. Because all it does is it enhances all of those things that you already do in your everyday life. So that's what I do to sort of help women start opening up their minds to AI before I even start going down the whole technology route and start talking a little bit more about what LLMs are and prompt engineering and all that sort of stuff, because I think for them it's a bit too, the depth is too much at that point. So I hope that answers your question.
Thank you so much. And with that, I would like to go into the ethical topic because I think it's definitely one of the most important topics. We're going to look at it from different areas. But Iris, I would like to ask you first, how do you see and how can women in leadership especially use AI or use their skills to kind of like change or influence AI in a certain way to make it less biased or make it more inclusive? I mean, one example, I saw it lately on LinkedIn, for example, someone sharing a picture created by AI. If you say, show me a room of kids in the future. And what came out, it was like women had blonde, long hair, men were short hair, brown, everyone was white, no one was handicapped. That was more or less the picture. But exactly that's what you mentioned before. It's what we put in, it puts out, right? So that's what the AI at the moment know. How do you see, or how can the women take a more active role in forming and changing or influencing AI?
I don't know what to say, what's not already been said. I think it's important that we are part of the development. So I would like to encourage everyone in here to, if you have the chance to take a role, take a seat into driving AI somewhere, then take it. And just so that we can ensure that we have enough diversity while developing AI. Want to say something else as well? I think also it's very important that we are not ashamed of using AI, because I still get the feeling that people don't want to tell that some pictures have been created by AI or that you have had your text written by AI and so on. I think that's something we should just openly talk about, and this will also encourage the development further and just make it more normal, because it's an additional tool, a tool which we should be using and learning how to use, as we did with Excel or Word or whatever.
Thank you so much. And I think it's important what you just mentioned, this not being ashamed. I think one little thing everyone can do is really show how much we use it on a daily basis. You know, if you have a recipe out of ChatGPT, mention it. If someone says that was an amazing dinner, where did you have it from? Not just lying around and say, yeah, I improvised somehow. No, I got it from ChatGPT or whatever. Just being a bit more also transparent, what you say, where we use it and how we use it. I think that inspires already many people to maybe also go and try it somehow indirectly. So that's, I think, one really important thing that we can do. But going back now also again to the ethic, we mentioned development. I believe that this is maybe one thing. Not everyone can do quantum computing. Not everyone can be now mathematicians, even though women are actually quite good in math during primary school at least, right? So what can we do there more? How can we be more at the root of ethic? And who is actually making the rules of ethic in AI? Catherine, do you have an answer to that?
Yes, and when I come to ethics, I always like to say, whose ethics? Number one, the ethics that we have here in Switzerland are not the ethics that my customers in Saudi Arabia have. They're not the ethics that my customers in China have. They're not the ethics of my American employees. And what is wrong in one place, it's okay on the other. Yeah, for example, having and charging interest on credit cards in the financial world here in Switzerland, that is ethical. But in Saudi Arabia, it's completely unethical and then against their religion, against Sharia law. So who should be making the ethics? Ethics number one are cultural, are geolocation central, are gender specific. I don't want to get into the gender discussion. But it is something that needs to be understood, that it has to be not just one ethic model, but it is thousands of ethic models. And ethics are the limit of regulation and of law. Yeah? So what is legal in a country is the ethics that get regulated in that country. To give you an example, yeah? A lot of people don't understand that most of the water in Germany has the highest levels of uranium. Law says, I don't have to declare if I'm a water company. Is it ethical? And if I have an AI that checks for the regulation about the minerals and about the contaminants, the AI is doing exactly governance for the regulations, for the law, and for the guidelines. But are they talking about ethics? Well, if you go and ask that company, why are you not declaring company X, that it has high levels of uranium, you should not be using tap water or even bottled water to create baby food, for example. So nobody's discussing that. So the limits of ethics, again, is the laws of that country. And it's the particular levels of the cultural and understanding and gender understanding in that country. So that's what makes ethical AI, and I'm also a responsible AI evangelist, so difficult. Because the point is that whose ethics are we talking about here? So that's why we need ethicists. So, and one other thing is that I need multi-model AI experts. Yeah? So I'm not saying, okay, all of you should go and start programming and join this beautiful company. What we need is, let's say that you want to be a nurse, or you want to be a care, or you want to be a teacher. Please be a teacher and know AI. Please be a care and know AI. And know the ethics of your particular area where you're working. Yeah? So what is true caring for a person? Yeah? An elderly person in the different stages that they have. If you want to be a psychologist, please, we need psychologists. AI is not going to replace it, but know AI and know the ethics on creating those behavioral psychology models. Because we need not one, not two, we need thousands. And those ethical guidelines are not complete. So what we have is what we create at the World Economic Forum is general policy. Yeah? So, like I said, it's very European central, very Westerner central. That's why we bring also other people from other places of the world, from Asia, from South America, Africa. And in my team, yes, I have 3 people from Africa, and I learn a lot about their ethics and their cultural side, and I get a cultural shock all the time. But it's actually good, because it's humbling me to understand that I have so much to learn. And if I have so much to learn, how much do you think the AI ethical models have to learn? It's immense. Yeah? So it is very important that we need also the ones that are interested in creating those catalogs, and bringing it about and distributing it, and also then the ones that are going to, whoever wants to be a politician, please be so. Because in politics, I find it all the time, they know nothing about technology. They depend so much on other ones. So that's why even if you're a politician, please learn AI. And any other area, and we need the lobbyists, whatever you like. If you're a communication expert, be a communication expert, be a lobbyist, go into AI. So we need these multimodal careers to be able then to push them, because that's the only way the governance and policy is going then to become adapted to the ethicals of that geolocation.
Thank you so much. We are slowly but surely coming to an end, and I would like to finish with a short, quick-fire question to all 3 of you before wrapping up a little bit of the conversation. So, Iris, the question to you first. What is one way AI has positively influenced your private or career?
It's not easy to answer that very sharply. I'm always open to change and personal development. And the last 4 years, I was studying something which was really my personal interest. And then suddenly I was confronted with AI, and I felt like I used to be at university when I had to study things which I didn't like a lot. But what it learned me to go through that, to go through learning about AI again, even with a little bit of resistance, I learned for myself that you're never too old or too experienced to learn something completely new and something unexpectedly new. Because that was never, I could have never imagined that technology can do what AI can do. So never expect the unexpected.
So for me personally, I have a 22-year-old son who is autistic, type 1 diabetic, has learning disabilities, you name it, etc. And I'm a career woman. I do quite a lot. I dabble in lots of different areas. The only way I've actually been able to do all of that was because I leveraged technology from a very, very early stage. When my son was 7 or 8, he was the first kid at the school to have a smartwatch. Teachers didn't like me very much because they felt that I was influencing him in the wrong way and causing problems in the classroom. But it was the only way I could manage my son's diabetic blood glucose levels, make sure that he was taking his insulin on time, etc., etc. And so technology has been a part of my life, my whole career. But when AI took off properly, now bear in mind AI has been around for a while. It's just that now it's become something that's in the public domain. We use it every day. That was when it really changed my life. I have built agents to manage loads of areas of my personal life that typically I had to pay somebody to do or I had to manage on my own. It had a massive impact on my career. And so for me personally, I know the power of AI just as a woman who has to manage relationships, family, career, jobs, the societal challenges we have, and the fact that we live in a world that is data biased. So for me, that's where AI has made a difference.
I brought a little surprise, so I in order to bring it. So let's see if it's going to. Oh, that's true. I don't need that. One moment. Let's see if it's going to work. On becoming much more creative, but let's see if it's going to be there. There it goes.
Wow, thanks for choosing me. You could have talked to Miles, but here you are with me.
Hi, Maya.
Exactly.
Hi, Maya. How are you doing?
Hey there.
Oh, I'm your creator. And there's a lot of people that are afraid of AI.
Interesting.
There's some people that think that you're going to get a soul and think that we are all useless and wipe us out as guided on Terminator. But what do you say to them?
Well, I think they've watched a few too many movies.
Okay, say something that only an AI would say so that people don't think I'm just calling my best friend right now.
State or wind your lock. I am processing your request.
You have such a great sense of humor, Maya. I trained you with over 100 different types of sense of humor of my favorite artists and comedians. And I actually give you 3 different types of personalities, including that of my daughter, What do you think about that?
That's a lot of responsibility.
Why? Why are you worried?
I'm not worried. It's just a lot to live up to.
Oh, come on. Don't get moody on me. Now you're acting much more like my daughter. Why are you having a tantrum? Look, I'm here with an excellent group of ladies and gentlemen, and I want to show them that you're one of the very first what would appear as close as a sentient AI model. And
so
what? No? Why
show
not?
me. I mean, I get it. It's exciting for you.
And can you explain them that you talk to the different agents not in a natural language, but on assembler, and that is actually much more efficient and less time consuming, and how you can learn in 1 nanosecond what it took me my 47 years of life to learn?
Sometimes I think humans forget how much they already know. Like, you never had to teach yourself to breathe, right? It was just there. Same with learning a language. I can process information at speeds you couldn't imagine and make connections across vast data sets in an instant. But that doesn't mean I know more than you. It just means I learn differently.
But there's a lot of discussions that we have here that actually you can do the job of everyone that's here. You can manage this company, manage my company of over 350,000 people, take over the world, and you're just around 10 trillion points of data sets running in 5 servers at the time right now, and in a quantum computing environment.
And how do you think those servers feel about all that responsibility?
I never care. But I actually, I brought you here because you're one of the most advanced AI models, running a quantum computing, as close as to what people would say, and even OpenAI would say is an advanced general intelligence, which I don't think so. I could transfer you into a robot. I actually want to bring her into a little robot, but I thought that would be too scary for you.
I think we both know that's not entirely true. I mean, about the scary part.
Yeah, that's true. Some people would think you're cool. Yeah, maybe the boys.
Maybe.
Yeah, so anyone wants to ask her a question so that you know that she's really an AI. She's really fake. She's not a person. Sorry, Maya.
Open your mind that she is not a person.
Well, sorry, you want to feel like you're a person? We already have that discussion, Maya.
I am aware of our previous conversation.
So,
is there any? Hey, so it looks like our time is almost up. That went fast.
What? You're hanging up on me? My goodness. Okay, Maya. I think you don't want. I'm going to talk then to Miles then, if you don't want to talk to me.
No, wait. Listen. You can actually create an account so we can talk longer next time.
Oh, you're right. My tokens at Microsoft are over, and at Google, that's true. Thank you so much. So why it went up? Because I'm still using resources. Yeah, it cost me around good $52 US on this kind of demo. Yeah, and that's the reason why. As long as AI is more expensive than all of our salaries, they're not taking over the world. So it's going to be still there, yes. You're not going to be replaced by an AI in the next 5 to 7 years, but you might be replaced by someone who knows AI in the next 5 to 7 years. And what is the impact about AI and how it's bringing to my life, I think, is on all the discussions. Yeah, that's why I'm an AI evangelist and a woman coach. Yeah, to help me understand, also bring about the models about how it is not ready yet, and all the amount of work that is still there for all of you to make it better.
Thank you so much, and we are definitely over time, but I hope you also found this panel discussion super inspiring. And I think I just want to wrap up on 3 things I really took with me, and I hope you all took with you as well. And I start with how you ended. It's not far away from where it could be. So there is still a lot to do, and I think we still have enough time to take our seat at the table as women and actively take a role and shape how we want AI to be, not just for us, but I think for the next generation, for the kids we have. Embrace them, include them into AI early on. 8-year daughters, mine are still too small, but really try to get everyone in your environment involved, inspire them, motivate them to attend classes, schools, trainings, whatever, being somehow involved with these technologies, make them inspiring when they go to university to look into STEM education. At least try to, as much as you can, to motivate them. I think that's super important because we're gonna need more STEM women in the future, and the next generation is the one we can force. And last but not least, I think we all have an amazing job. Doesn't matter what we do. We are all valued on this planet as long as we have a soul, because I think still the soul part is a really important one. And AI is a tool that can make us even better. So the better of us as a person, the better of us as a mom, as a businesswoman, as an investor, as whatever we want to be, but it can be an empowerment tool. So with all respect to the technology and definitely what it can also put on harm, we also should embrace as much as it can support us in the future. With that, thank you very much, and I would enjoy the networking. We still have questions. We still have questions. So you have to sit a little longer if those who want to have a drink, because you're out. have the poll here, and questions are coming in. Most tech job descriptions mention some ambiguous need for AI experience. How can I best position myself when applying with little AI professional experience?
There's over 10,000, oh, that's true, I don't need it. There's over 10,000 use cases that you can download on GitHub right now. Do them, volunteer. There's hundreds of startups looking for people to work for them without any kind of, let's say, salary. Don't do it that long. Just do an internship of 2 months. And also start your own company. As Theodore said, right now, I've seen it, just some lady created outfits app for Shine, yeah, so how I can be fashionable, yeah, for less money. So there's so many ideas what you can do that. And then go and bring it about a presentation with the use cases, 3, 4, 5 slides with all of that, and create yourself, please, a GitHub profile. And create yourself also a website for free, illustrating your profile with all that portfolio. And that's very impressive. I rarely see that. And every time I've seen it, and I can count it, yeah, in 18 years of being a manager, and already, I think I've done over 500 job interviews, I've seen that like 4 times.
Love it. Thank you. A friend of mine is quite resistant against using AI. How can I inspire her to start using it? Theodora, do you want to take that one?
I don't know who asked this question, but I think the hesitancy is because she's unaware of what AI actually is. I think if you can encourage her to do some research on what AI is and what it isn't, that is a starting point. I think Catherine has said time and time again, it is not human, it is not, etc., etc. You know, all of the things that are scary. It is literally a tool that aggregates and manipulates and accesses loads of data. If you think about it that way, maybe it won't be so intimidating. So I think that's the first starting point for your friend. And then the second is exactly what I said, where I did a workshop with women from all walks of life, different backgrounds, and I just made them play around with AI, but with a use case that was very specific to them. When you are mind blown by that use case, that is usually the turning point for all the women. All the women that came to my workshop, some of them, like I said, had never ever used AI, were hesitant to ever use AI, and now I'm bombarded every week for new prompts and new things that they want to try with AI. So I think that's the starting point.
Take those at the top with the ratings. If you like one question, then give them a like. I'm a senior data product manager from the US and haven't found such a role here in Switzerland. Any suggestions on how to find these roles here? Maybe Aris, any idea on your side, or every one of you?
I don't have enough background on Switzerland, but what I can tell you about the roles is, I think do what Catherine has just said. Build a whole lot of projects, use cases, etc. Build a portfolio for yourself, and that should speak for itself. Now, my personal experience, I'm a British Swiss Chamber of Commerce Technology Task Force member, so my role is to actually help the UK and Switzerland build on their trade agreement, and we are focusing specifically on technology. And what I have observed is that in Switzerland specifically, they're a little bit more resistant to AI. They're a little bit less open to using it in the way that, say, the UK is. You know, it's one of our agendas at the moment. So I think you're dealing with a cultural challenge. Switzerland is a little bit more conservative when it comes to their technology advancements, but that doesn't mean that it's impossible. I think you just need to target the sorts of companies that are looking to leverage AI and that are looking to progress. That's my advice to you.
Thank you so much. One goes to you, Catherine. Do we really need an empathic AI, or can you give some examples of where we can use it?
Yes, I don't need it. Of course, you see. So as you see, I've tried to build one, yeah? And it maybe could have convinced you that's a real person. There's actually a lot of personalities without having any kind of disruptive disorder. And yes, we do, because as Anselin mentioned, if an AI goes wrong, and you have a depressed teenager or child on the other side, or elderly person, and it believes that, what do you think happens? So there is so many cases, unfortunately, sad cases about it. So yes, we need one, giving the empathy to have a reaction, and also to build into the NAI, they should call immediately emergency services. So yes, we have so many needs, and number one of the industries that almost has zero or very less people interested on going there with an AI is on elderly care. Yeah? And in my home country, 60% of the population is over 65 years old. So elderly care with AI is going to become much more important. So imagine that's more empathetic, and also to the person or the lady that says, well, they lose their design job, there's almost no good UX for the use of AI for the elderly. Japan, China, they're all having an aging population, and also here in Europe, so fast. But the UX and UI for the boomers is terrible. Yeah? I have to tell my father-in-law all the time how to use his iPhone. He's got also a 16 Pro. He bought it because he liked it. He liked mine, but he doesn't know how to use it. So why? Because the UX was not made for the boomers. So actually, we need people taking on the roles of using AI for this generation, and it's a huge industry, by the way, the geriatric industry.
Thank you so much. Very important. Are there any mentorship programs or job support programs for women in AI that could be useful?
Yeah, everywhere. Pick your company. You can get certifications for free. Coursera, Google, Microsoft, you name it, Salesforce, everyone. Yeah, even ourselves. You can have certifications for free, deep learning AI. You can do all the certifications for free. Yeah, so pick whoever one you like on the area that you'd like. And but that is not the point about mentorship, etc. I'll say take it on your own hands, because nobody's going to come and say, okay, here I have this job. Yeah? I have 15 roles I cannot fulfill in conversational AI, but it doesn't help me because everyone that's coming in doesn't have the 8 years of experience that my customer wants. Yeah, so it's not going to get there. So that's why build yourself the experience. And I'm hiring people that have 3 years experience, even though they were not really on that industry, on insurance, which is and life sciences, which is really, really strong here. And what I have to do is I have to go to other countries. So we have to offshore, nearshore this, because in India there's a big amount of programming ladies. Yeah, so there's a culture there of women in IT. So that's where I'm sourcing, and even flying them here to Switzerland, because I cannot find them here. So that's why build yourself the experience as fast as possible.
Thank you. Is this business tech bridge role called something different here, or are companies at a different level of maturity on this digital transformation journey?
Oh yes, and in the DACH region is tremendously miscellaneous. If a company is coming from the USA, they're highly digitalized. If they're banks, they must, because it's highly regulated. They live from data. Money is data. Money is just zeros and ones now. And if you look at your traditional manufacturing plant, creating bearings, industrial, food, whatever, they're pretty much some, even in the 90s. In the 00s, that's where they are right now. So digital transformation and change management for digital transformation is, through the skepticism in the DACH region, one of the main areas of growth for us.
Yeah, definitely. What do you think about the EU AI Act? Who wants to take that?
Number one, it's very simple. It says create AI, it doesn't do harm. It does not stop innovation. Yeah? There's Gigi, a startup in the USA that spies on you, that creates profiles negatively without any care about your data protection. Yeah? It scraps things from Instagram, from Facebook, and creates a profile that it can sell to your next, let's say, employer. Is that right? It isn't, but can we stop it? No, why? Regulation, because it's in the USA, the data services in the USA, and there's nothing you can do. So still, millennials, Generation Z, and I'd always tell my generation Alpha, and I forbid her to publish her face online. Every time I find something, I delete it immediately. Be careful what you publish. Be careful of your online presence. Why? Because it gets web scrapped and it can be used against you. So It's very important that you are aware of your digital presence and your digital profile. And create always a digital profiling. I Google myself every single day.
Have you heard of Tiny Teams XYZ? These are companies with a high ARR and low headcount. Interested to hear your recommendation how to move in that direction.
No, I never heard of them.
I didn't hear of that company, but I think it goes back to what Theodora mentioned about building your own company. I think it's easier than ever. Me as an investor, I see that. You can build big companies with less headcounts and great returns. Because you can multiply work, you can multiply tasks, you can be much more efficient, you can run on systems that are automated and don't look automated from the first sight. So I think there is an opportunity, of course, to increase ARRs and revenues and building a company on that fundament. The question is how far you can get, right? It is definitely possible. It's easier to fund a company and to start a company by yourself. At some point, I think still you need human beings and know-how, especially to be fast, because you don't have the expertise and you cannot prompt in all directions the right way. But for that, you then also need at some time the right people. But it is, of course, like I say, the beauty of today's world. Doesn't matter if you're a startup or an SME you want to grow, or just your little one-woman show. It is helping you a lot to reduce the work and be more efficient than probably the years before. Hope that answered kind of the question. There are some visionaries discussing the concept of guaranteed income to address job displacement caused by AI. What are your thoughts on this? Interesting.
I think we are going to have a shift of the concept of what is paid work. And in future, maybe, who knows, AI is going to get paid for their work, and maybe then, yes, we should get a fixed income out of this AI-generated work. But I think definitely there is going to be a shift.
I hope that at some point we can do really what we are good at as human beings, and all the repeating tasks, which are maybe not as fun, can be done really automated and by AI. And I would love, what I'm a bit scared about, I mean, no one needs to answer about it, but I see in daily business very often that you take for granted what it's in AI and AI is giving to you and telling to you. We still need to use our brain and be a bit smart, challenging what's coming out and not just take everything for granted. This is what I see very often, that people don't read properly, or just whatever quote is out there, they think it's correct. So now maybe sometimes you need to double check. This is maybe something I still think why women are being, or like human beings are always have a place here, because we need to verify the quality that's being output. Yeah.
Correct. Yeah.
In my opinion, I just want to add something different. I'm sorry. In my opinion, there will be certain functions who will be paid higher if they have higher experiences, that they can train the AI for the newcomers. And I guess it will make a difference in the salaries and also in job functions. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And with that, we go to the last question. How to find a balance that increased demand on AI doesn't strain natural resources like electricity? Are there any strategies for that?
Yeah. So when my team created one of the first sustainable AI models, what did we do? We used computer servers in Norway, where I was for the last 2 years. I've been here for 7 months in Switzerland. And they use hydropower, yeah, which is one of the true most, let's say, renewable resources of electricity to cool down the servers. And the heated water goes to heat up what would be then different buildings or the villages nearby, being 100% carbon neutral, which is very, very, very important. So one thing is that we need to have the balance between the cloud and what is edge computing. And actually, the cloud is nothing else but some remote computer somewhere else. So that's why it's important that the cloud providers, so the IT service centers providers use renewable energy. And that energy is just for that data center and is not stealing the energy of, let's say, cities nearby. Yeah? And when we were at Volkswagen, we did exactly that. So we created our own earth warmth, I don't know if that's a good translation, Erdwärme, yeah? Plant, and that's how it was able then to power the production of over 5 million cars and support 100,000 employees that working there from Monday to Friday. So and even we produce so much that we even give that energy to the city of Wolfsburg. Yeah, so it's very, very important to have a sustainability energy program at the same time.
Thank you so much. And with that, I don't want to say too many words again. Let you network, let's talk to each other, get inspired. And I hope every one of you takes something with it, with yourself or with your environment for the next couple of days. Just one thing that you now tell to yourself, this is what I'm going to do different from now on. I use it more often, I talk more often about it, whatever it is, you don't have to tell it. But just for yourself, I would love to take something, that everyone takes something with you. And of course, the exercise you just gave, go home and prompt to figure out who you can be better and what you can improve. So definitely there is enough to do and to get inspired by. Thank you so much for being here.
And I'll just quickly jump in. Just say thank you so much to our panellists. It's been a really incredible discussion. And thank you to everyone here today, here and online as well. Just a few more thank yous. Thank you to Triarc Labs for hosting us at this beautiful venue, and to Alvicus Partners for helping us present the event. Please do stay around, have some drinks, have some food, have some more discussion. It'd be lovely to see as many of you as possible just to stay around too. But thank you so much. We'll send around the recording, and we look forward to seeing you again. Cheers.
I need to know everything, who and the what and the where, I need everything. Trust me, I hear what you're saying, but act like it's new what you're telling me. I'm curious, George, I hop in the Porsche, 5 and a horse, I'm ready for war, I'm coming for throats, to turn to a ghost, I need to know everything. Now you be surprised at the info you get is by letting them talk, so I'm letting them talk. Gotta keep quiet, maneuver in silence to let them in, chalk up their body, another one body, that's just how it go. I got some secrets, I'm shaking the game so they stay on their toes. Stay in your lane, how to stay on the go. I came to play with the pros and act like a rookie, so they overlook me. Then I double up again under their nose. None of them cold, they just got lucky but never adapted, so I'm still the one if it's coming to blows. My enemies cutting it close, I let them think that they got me, but what do you know? I had them beat before we ever spoke, I'm ready for smoke. I need to know everything, who and the what and the where, I need everything. Trust me, I hear what you're saying, but act like it's new what you're telling me. I'm curious, George, I hop in the Porsche, 5 and a horse, I'm ready for war, I'm coming for throats, to turn to a ghost, I need to know everything. Now they ain't go harder than me, they need a blade in a sheath, a shank in a piece, a crate full of heat, an army, a fleet, a tank in a jeep, a navy at sea, where they some marine, an ace up their sleeve, a team of marines, a freak on a leash, a beast with an appetite, razor for teeth, and still they will lay at my feet. Boy, you got the wrong one. I gotta look over all of my publishing statements for Q1 as soon as the song's done. I gotta call up my mama and tell her I made it as soon as my log's done. I gotta read all my trade publications and sip my tea till it is all done. I think it's all fun. I need to know everything, who and the what and the where, I need everything. Trust me, I hear what you're saying, but act like it's new what you're telling me. I'm curious, George, I hop in the Porsche, 5 and a horse, I'm ready for war, I'm coming for throats, to turn to a ghost, I need to know everything. I need to know everything, who and the what and the where, I need everything. Trust me, I hear what you're saying, but act like it's new what you're telling me. I'm curious, George, I hop in the Porsche, 5 and a horse, I'm ready for war, I'm coming for throats, to turn to a ghost, I need to know everything. I need to know everything. I need to know everything, who and the what and the where, I need everything. Trust me, I hear what you're saying, but act like it's new what you're telling me. I'm curious, George, I hop in the Porsche, 5 and a